Hey, what's up, guys? Nick Pell coming to you once again with another book review. Last week we saw Nicky Six and his heroin addiction. This week we are seeing a new trilogy, or the start of a trilogy, with the prequel to that trilogy, if that made sense. Hope you followed that. This week's book is called The Hobbit, J.R.R. Tolkien, as most of you know. This is my edition. I got it quite a few years back when the movies were still coming out. So these will be the edition for all of the books that I read for this. And it is the Ballantine Books series, I guess, maybe, possibly. I don't know, but this is what I'm reading it out of. Yeah, like I said, this is the first book in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, as in it is the prequel, but not part of the legit trilogy. Without further ado, let's begin, and as usual, we shall begin with characters. Our first character is the main character in the story, which is Bilbo Baggins. At the beginning of the story, Bilbo is just this hobbit who really just doesn't want anything exciting to happen in his life. He just wants to sit in his hobbit hole and just live out his days as peacefully and quietly as possible. But obviously, as I'm assuming you know, this does not happen. And that is a result of Gandalf, and he is our second main character, and he is a wizard, for those of you who do not know this, and he is the one who really just recruits Bilbo into going on this adventure, or quest, if you could call it that. He goes on this adventure as the burglar for this group, who basically just has to be sneaky, steals things, and this is made possible in the first part of the book with a certain circly object that Bilbo finds. Hint, hint. Our third main character is Thorin Oakenshield, and he is the leader of the group of dwarves that travels with Gandalf and Bilbo. He is also the heir to the castle that our fourth main character is currently residing in, and that is one of his motivations for going out and seeking out to kill this creature, which is Smaug, and he is our fourth and final main character. And he is a dragon, a red dragon, who has lived for many years, who sits on this immense pile of gold and treasure and everything that he's accumulated over the years. And he resides in Lonely Mountain, and also in the castle where Thorin has rights to. So, that is our characters and a slight part of the plot. But I will talk about what I have for the plot right now. And with that, the plot is for the most part really simple. I found Bilbo is more or less forced to go on this adventure with Gandalf and these dwarves who just kind of appear into his life just randomly. I think Bilbo met Gandalf when he was younger, like a toddler or a child, but now Gandalf has kind of reappeared in his life. He's well known as a wizard, and he is kind of brought into this whole quest to be the burglar, like I said, and the quest itself is to just kind of take out Smaug and reclaim all the treasure, and he would get a 14th of that profit because there would be 14 companions total. And many different things occur along the way. There's dealings with goblins, there's dealing with spiders, with wood elves, a bunch of different things, and it kind of just goes from one little snippet of stuff to the next, and that is really just how the story flows. He leaves from the Shire and goes all the way to Lonely Mountain and back. As you know, the story is called There and Back Again, so it kind of tells you. But it does lead up to a very nice climax at the very end of the story. It's very exciting, and I didn't really know that that was coming at the end. And it does resolve the story quite nicely. In my edition, there are 305 pages. There's probably more or less in various editions, but in mine, that's how many there are. And it is a fairly easy story to get through. It's not really too advanced of reading material, which I was kind of happy about after all the stuff that I've been reading recently, as you've seen. And we next up have themes, and we have 4 themes this time, starting with adventure, and this is something that mainly deals with Bilbo, but I guess for the whole cast in general. And mainly with Bilbo because he, like I said, is very anti-adventure. In The Hobbit, in the Shire, adventure is kind of looked down upon. Hobbits are supposed to live peacefully and not be adventurous and whatnot. And Bilbo decides to undertake this somewhat reluctantly at first, but then he kind of grows into it. But also with adventure, it's something that everyone can relate to. Everyone kind of wants to go on an adventure after seeing all this stuff in media, like movies, music, video games, books, anything like that. It's always just something that's kind of, I think, at least hidden inside someone who just wants to go out, do something awesome, and be able to come back and tell the tale. So Bilbo is definitely the most relatable character because of that. We also have courage, and this also mainly deals with Bilbo. Most of these themes will deal with Bilbo because he is the main central character. But courage is something that Bilbo needs to find almost from the outset, but the courage really just builds up as the story goes on, and he gets more comfortable with his role in this whole thing. We also have survival, and this mainly deals with the group as a whole, mainly just Bilbo and the dwarves, and them kind of surviving their journey all the way to the mountain and taking out Smog. It's just how they survive, how they get through things, and it's kind of an interesting thing to see. We also have dependent on others, which is our last theme, and this also goes, I guess, along survival in that with such an important and dangerous task that they give themselves, they kind of have to rely on each other in almost every way, and if you can't trust the other person, then you're kind of screwed, and you're not going to survive too long. And that goes with anything in this reality or in Middle Earth. And lastly, we have enjoyment, and I did enjoy The Hobbit for the most part. It was a very fun book to read. It was interesting in its events and had some pretty interesting choices as well in terms of what Bilbo did and how he got out of situations. But I do feel like the book was a tad bit overhyped because I guess I was expecting it to be this amazing adventure because I'd heard so many good things about it. But it did feel a little bit like Huck Finn to me in terms of it just going from plot to plot, or I guess mini plot to subplot to subplot, that type of stuff, with only a few of those subplots kind of interrelating into the main story in general. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it was something that I noticed and that I thought could have been a little bit better, I guess. I don't know. That's just something that kind of crossed my mind. But don't get me wrong or anything. It was a good story, but I was just hoping that it was going to be a more gripping story, if nothing else. But as I said, it is still a really good book, and it does work really well as a prologue to, or a prelude, I guess, to the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It introduces all the races, I'm assuming some of the main characters, and some events which I'm assuming will be touched upon in the trilogy itself. So I haven't read the trilogy yet. I've seen the movies, but I haven't seen them for a number of years now. So I'm almost going into this whole thing fresh. I know what happens at the end, but in terms of how it got there, I'm a little bit hazy. So yeah, I recommend this story if you like fantasy novels, if you like Tolkien's books, if you like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And yeah, that's my review. Hope you liked it. Like, favorite, comment, or subscribe if you so choose. I would appreciate it immensely. And yeah, that should be about it. You can comment in the comments if you so choose about the book. I'm not going to restrict anything for this one because it's a prelude and or a prologue. So do as you will. As usual, my name is Nick Pell, and as always, my good people of literature and other things, keep on reading. Hey guys, one quick thing before I go to the end credits that kind of scroll down and whatnot. It will not be the Lord of the Rings trilogy next, unfortunately, because I started the first one, Fellowship of the Ring, and I got like a fourth of the way through it, and I couldn't get into it, which kind of sucked, because I really wanted to read the series, but I couldn't get into it, and it was becoming a struggle to read, and just not something that I was finding fun to do, and I don't know why. I'm sure the series or the trilogy is awesome and amazing once I get farther into it, and I will at some point get farther into it, but as of now, I don't have the time because college. I'm leaving for college Saturday. This is the 21st of August when I'm filming this, and that's mainly it at the moment. I just don't have the time for it, or really a major interest in doing it. So
The next thing that you guys will see is the Walking Dead series, so books 1 through 8. As of now, I've completed 1 through 7, with the 8th one being released officially in early October, and I'll be getting that on the release date and hopefully putting out the review directly after the Walking Dead book 7 comes out, so like the week after, obviously, and then with that there will be the series review as well. So know that. I'm sorry if you're looking forward to it. I hope you enjoyed the Hobbit review, and so yeah, just know that, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, and as always, keep on reading.